My ladies, my sirs, welcome to episode 7 of season 1. We're only one episode away from the season finale. Season 1 is all about mateship, and you might notice that I don't have a mate here with me today, and specifically because the schedules didn't meet up. So I had to take a different tact. I was thinking, what can I explain about mateship that is tangible when you're on your own? And it's quite simple. It's the knowledge base that you can share with your friends. I have a history of ultralight bow hunting, ultralight hiking, ultralight camping. All this involved taking the minimalist amount of equipment out into the wild to do what you needed to do. And this can be very daunting. It's a very tricky hobby to be part of. And to do it efficiently and effectively, you really need a good, solid knowledge base. A lot of what I learned from doing these things actually came from people who had far greater experience than me. So what I want to do is share with you some of the tips and tricks that I received from my mates about this sort of style of adventuring. Now, for a lot of you, you might understand that gold is getting harder and harder to find in the popular spots, or at least the very good deposits. Yes, you may come across a crevice that had not been worked and had been missed by a lot of people, but the further you go out, the more of those crevices, the more of those sweet little honey holes exist. So to get there, you need some specialized equipment. You really need to think about weight, hydration, and a few other things besides. So let's see what's in this backpack that could get you out there and on top of that gold. Ready, and that is the gear you're going to need to take. What we've got here is a gold claw pan, then we've got a croc sluice with a pry bar on top, we've got a yabby pump, we've got a crevice brush, we've got a crevice scraper, a snuffle bottle, a small spade, a backpack shovel, so not a big shovel, we've got some snake gaiters, a Minelab 10-inch pan, a classifier, my backpack, and 2 water bottles. Plus in there's also a GPS. Going remote often means going light. You want to go as light as you possibly can, and that comes down to a whole heap of things, from your clothing that you're wearing all the way to the equipment that you're taking. And the reason for that is simple. It's energy expenditure. If you've got to walk 2 kilometers in the bush, it could take you several hours depending on how dense that bush is. The more weight you're carrying, the more fatigued you're going to get, and you won't have enough time on site to do what you need to do. But shedding weight isn't all about just taking the lightest of light things. It's about making smart decisions. Use tools that serve multiple purposes so you don't have to take as many tools. Shed weight where you can. A prime example is brushes. I'm taking this brush. It's made from aluminium tubing and it's got fiberglass bristles in the end. This one also has fiberglass bristles and it's made from wood. The difference between these two is about 100 grams of weight. This weighs 100 grams more than this. They both do the same thing, so I'm going to take this. Once you've got your equipment sorted, you really want to look at your clothing that you want to wear. I'm going out in extremely hot weather today. I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt to stop sunburn getting all over my body. I've got a nice big wide brimmed hat, sunglasses, sunscreen, I've got a neck protector, I've got a few other things like that that will help me keep the heat away. But one of the things that's often overlooked is footwear. So many people go out and buy hiking boots to do this sort of stuff, or they wear gumboots or waders in the water, and all these things are very, very heavy. There are a couple of great products that I want to do a review on in a future episode that will actually be coming up quite soon, that will explain a little bit more about footwear and what you're looking for. At the end of the day, walking with a 1.5 kilo set of gumboots on your feet is going to drain you a lot faster than hiking in there with just a pair of sneakers. Well, that bodes well. First pan of the day, about 5 specks. Have a gander. Oh no, wait. I got no signals, but there's still plenty of places worth having a scratch. I told a lie. I do have a signal. Look at this. It's jumping both ways, so it could be a few different things. But it's definitely a signal, so we'll dig that out. It's in the pan, but I've got a feeling it might be a hot rock. Let's find out. We got about 5 more specks of gold. And not on the bottom, I'm only in the overburden. Now that is actually a potentially really good place to check because of the way the gravels have accumulated there. You can tell it's a low pressure system. It's working like a sluice riffle, bedrock, yada yada yada, good stuff. Normally when you don't find the signal in the bottom of your pan once you go metal detecting and it's not there, if there's no bullet, there's no bit of wire or anything at the bottom of your pan, it's probably a hot rock. I've discovered they float straight over the top because they're not nearly as heavy as everything else. So just bear that in mind. If you do get a really good signal it's not in your pan, you probably didn't pan wrong. It's probably just a hot rock. This is the exact reason why having a backpack sluice like that is so important. I can take this dirt, I'm just going to throw it all into a pan, run it down my sluice, and I'll be done a hell of a lot quicker than if I was just panning alone. I've cleaned that corner out to bedrock. There's a nice couple of crevices running in there that I want to scratch out and actually pan, not sluice. So let's pull the sluice out and find out what we got. For 5-10 inch pans worth of dirt run through that sluice that took me maybe 3 or 4 minutes to do, that's not bad. We're going to scratch out the crevices at the bottom of that place because that's where the gold will be getting sucked when there was water running over the top of it. Hopefully it's got a little bit more. This is a very annoying spot to work. The crack goes in very far that way and very far that way. I've got about as much dirt as I can easily get out for maybe a quarter's pan's worth of dirt in a 10 incher. So if we get any more than 10 specks, we'll be on the money. Well, we got 3 bits. One's a little round, almost picker. Have a look. That one in the middle there, that's actually not too bad of a bit, but there's not enough of them. We might be moving on. I've spent another 10 minutes and I scratched out about the same amount of dirt and I got about the same amount of gold from underneath those rocks. So we know that hasn't accumulated tons. And then these cracks here. Now someone has clearly worked out some of these points, but it looks like they might not have had all the tools because we've got a lot of gravel packed into this crack here. So I'm going to try and bust these off and get all that gravel out. So much about crevicing is what I call the knock-on effect. You usually only have to get one bit of rock to move to open up a whole heap of ground. When we first started this hole, this was just one tight little crevice, just like this part up here. But we've since removed a couple of very big chunks to open up this grand hole, and we got almost a pan's worth of dirt out of it. We can guarantee that this part of the ground hasn't been touched, but the question is, did the rock penetrate that deep? Was there gold sinking that far in, or did the fella who cleaned this out before me get deep enough to get all the gold out? Bearing in mind this is only a 10-inch pan, so it's not that big. We got some okay gold out of that. Look at that little fingernail of gold. That's a beautiful speck. We've got a few more up there. That was well worth it. Like I said, it's not the best crevice because it has been worked before, so you know, lots of gold will be missing from this, but to pull 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 good bits of gold and a few micro out of someone else's hole or someone else's crevice that they've already worked is really good. So we're going to crack as much of that as possible, and when I have some more gold to show you, I'll show you. So, I found some gold. I want to really stress the importance of working crevices, not properly, but very, very diligently. All of this had previously been worked, and what I managed to do is get my pry bar in there and smash up bits of bedrock just like this, which has still got some dirt on it. But smashing up bedrock like this, if you can easily lift it out, it means that there was a crack there, and those cracks are usually full of clay and dirt and gold. So when you do find a crack, even if it's been worked by someone else, get your pry bar in there and have a wiggle around. Sometimes you'll dislodge a rock that was hiding a deposit of gold. I'm going to pan this off and show you the gold I've got for 2 pans. Alright, 2 10-inch pans, about half full, so 1 10-inch pan's worth, and we got that much gold. There's probably about 20 to 25 specks of gold in there from a crevice that had already been worked, and there's a lot more dirt in it, so we're going to keep scratching that one out. And a spider. Boop. It's all fine stuff, no pickers yet, but check this out. We've got this beautiful big pool here, and you know that the fast water is going to be coming over it when it's in major flood, and this is the first place that the water is going to hit. Someone has dug this out very recently. You can actually see that all these roots and stuff have been moved from the grass, but I put my hand down there and the bottom hasn't been yabby pumped, and if I've learned anything, it's that people move grasses and things like that, and if you yabby pump off the bottom, more often than not, you're going to find some of the gold that they couldn't pick up with a shovel. Check out the ironstone, and if we get it clean, not too shabby. 5 good bits. 5 good bits. Let's get the scraper in there and then really get to work. This is actually a really cool crack. In under that bit of bedrock there, which I'll get my hand free, this bit of bedrock here, so it comes to a V and then it shoots off that way underneath this rock. I scraped out a little bit of dirt from there, I panned it down, and that's the ironstone I got. Now what I really want to do is I'm going to tip it all into my gold claw and then pan it all off at the end. So we're just going to tip that straight in, and we're not going to worry about cleaning it up until later. This is 3 half pans worth of dirt, so a pan and a half from a 10-inch pan in my gold claw, and we're just going to clean it up. Whoa! Oh, I got a picker. Have a look at the first picker of the day. He's sitting right there. Right, I haven't done a reveal with the gold claw pan for a while, so just give me a minute and I'll get it cleaned up. There you have it, guys. That is a nice little run of gold. It's good to get a picker out of that. I'm going to try and get a little bit more dirt out of this. It's a hard spot to work. I really need a really big pry bar to crack open this thing completely. That would be the best way to go. But anyway, we'll try and get a bit more out. If I find some more good gold, I'll show you. I wanted to show you guys the power of small little cracks. After doing a few more pans out of that big hole with the yabby pump, I found a little bit more gold. Nothing spectacular, maybe 5 or 6 bits per pan, and I can't get any more out there without getting a big Jimmy bar in there. So I moved on and I found a hairline crack, and hairline cracks are often overlooked by prospectors, especially new guys. They look for what I call canyons, really big crevices. The little tiny ones get packed full of rock. Have a look at this. This crack I just scratched out. I teased as much dirt out of it as I could, and I filled up an entire gold claw pan. That's a lot of dirt, and if there's rocks jammed in there, there's a good chance gold will be as well. Pan this off, hopefully I'll be able to show you just how important these little cracks can be to your final day's gold take. Ooh, yeah. The thing about overlooked tiny crevices is the fact that they hold gold because no one touches them. Look at that. One pan, about 6 good bits. Easy as that. We're going to tease out some more of these small ones because they obviously have not been hit. I've probably done about 3 times the amount of pans that you've actually seen. So if I've done like 10 on camera, I've done about 30. Just scratching out crevices. They're not full pans, you know, quarter pans, half pans, eighth pans, not very much. I wanted to show you all the gold I've got for that though so far. There's so many crevices on this bedrock. It is just yielding pan after pan of at least 5-6 good bits of gold every single time. Well, this is the gold I've got earlier. There's that picker I just pulled out a little bit earlier in the video. And it goes to show you, just scratching out the really small cracks and crevices and panning them off, you might only be getting 5 or 6 bits, but they're so quick to work. You can work so many of them that you get really decent gold at the end of the day. This is the sort of country that kept me from taking grizzly out, because this is perfect snake country. I would not be surprised if we do run into one today somewhere in this long grass. Just going over some of this bedrock, and I actually picked up a really nice signal over here. I found the signal. We've got 1 shotgun pellet there and 2 more shotgun pellets up there and a couple of bits of gold. So they were shotgun pellets it was going off at. Area is definitely worth working though, so we're going to crack open some of these crevices, clean out all the gravel and yabby pump the bottom. But first, doesn't this look inviting? Yeah, that'll do. Oh, I got the guy. I got him. Ah. Oh. Ah. No one has seen this for a very long time. This is exactly why we cracked those huge rocks for tiny crevices, because this was where that rock came to and it looked like a solid piece and you wouldn't have been able to get in there. You crack it open and we've got river rock in a channel right there. So that's the sort of material that you want to get out. And the only way to do it is to move those big rocks. Even though that looked really good, we only got a heap of nano dots. So it's probably because it's a bit high, right where the fast hard water would be. Anyway, I got a request from one of you subscribers, can't remember your name, sorry. They're asking about showing some native wildlife. I just found an echidna. Hang on a second, we'll show you the pointy bugger. Oh, there we go. You noticed they have really bad eyesight, but they've got extremely good smell, and they're an anteater. You can see how big they are. That's my hand, and this is the same stuff made out of that you get from your fingernails, and they do that to protect themselves. So they'll literally dig a hole in if you try and go them. They'll stick all these spikes up. You can see these are all facing straight towards me, and they're very nasty. But these are my favorite Australian animals. I reckon they are absolutely awesome. We'll leave them in peace though. Bye mate. As you might be able to see up here, someone has given this a red hot flogging. my subscribers work this creek. I know that because I met one of them out here and he told me all about it. And they have done a textbook, an absolute textbook working of this creek. Super efficient. It's been very hard to find decent gold in this area. I finally found an okay deposit that I'm going to finish my day on working. This is what I got for 2 pans. I'm about, oh god, 4 or 5 pans down now. Getting a little bit, it'd be much better if I could set the crock up here and just sluice, but there's no drop in the river, so can't do that. The guys that are working this, I know you're probably watching, so you've done a fantastic job. You honestly have. Ah! Bloody bull ant on me thumb. It's all about the wildlife today, isn't it? Oh. Oh. Calm down from that. So after the bull ant my thumb, you guys have done a fantastic job at cleaning this place out. There is still gold here, but you've got most of the pockets. You've got most of the gold that's easily accessible. Alright, I hit a spot they haven't worked. Look at the ring of colour at the top of that pan. See if we can't do this really rough reveal. Oh yeah, oh yeah. There'd be a good 100 specks of gold in there, and probably 5 or 6 shotgun pellets, so that's good. The crevice is almost done, but all the gold seems to be up this end, not down there. Signal that I had just at the end of my yabby pump there was very faint, but it was a good one, and I pulled out a shotgun pellet plus some gold. On that note, I think it's time to call it a day. What an absolute epic day on the creek. I walked over 5.5 kilometers. I roughly burnt about 3,300 calories doing that hike. And one of the biggest things that drained me of my energy was wearing gumboots. I forgot my creek shoes. They're really, really important. If you are going to go remote, get yourself a set of creek shoes. I'm actually going to do a review on a company that makes shoes just for this purpose, just to go hiking so you can get them wet and not have to worry about them deteriorating and a few other things. When I got home though, I discovered that all of the clips that I filmed to say goodbye were corrupted. But that's okay, it gives me a perfect opportunity to do a gold weigh-in for you. This is all the beautiful, beautiful gold that we pulled out crevicing and panning. It was a lot of hours work, but overall, I think we got a really good result. Let's find out how much we got. Oh yes, can you see that? 1.21 grams, so 1.25 grams, which is approximately 60 bucks worth of gold in Australian dollars. Now let's see what we can add to it. Awesome. 3.2 grams, 3.25 grams. That is really, really good. That's roughly 170 Australian dollars worth of gold in just 3 panning sessions. I've got a directional microphone and my neighbour just started his lawnmower, so I'll spun you around and now you get to see our terrible blinds. An end of an absolutely cracking day yesterday. I hope I showed you how cool it can be to get onto a path that's less travelled. I was absolutely shattered by the end of it. I mean, I did 5.5 k's of walking, had a 9 kilo pack on my back, I drank a ton of water in the heat, and I had gumboots on weighing me down. It's really important footwear. I was absolutely stuffed, mostly because of those gumboots, and I'm going to do a special video all on ultralight hiking shoes that can get wet. That's coming up probably in the next season. But the results spoke for themselves. Over 1 gram of gold, 1.2 grams of gold, and all I did was some crevicing. It was a beautiful day out. And I implore you, if you've never tried it, get out there and give it a shot, because it's well worth the effort. This is the second last episode before we hit the season finale, and the season finale I'm hoping to end with a mate actually by my side, not like this episode where I just had to teach you about some of the things I got taught about by friends. Time has come to say goodbye. So until next week, I hope to catch you out there sometime. I hope you enjoyed Tech the Tuesdays. Peace, and I'm out.